Hello, this is Andrea for Beadaholique. In this video, I'm going to show you how to wire wrap beads onto a circular form. What you're going to need for this is you're going to need some wire, and usually you're going to want to use 24 gauge or even a little bit thinner. Anything too thick and you're going to have a hard time wrapping. So I chose this fuchsia color so you can see it. You're going to need something to wrap onto. Now you can make your own form. It doesn't necessarily have to be circular, but here I made out of 20 gauge round wire. I made a little hoop. Or, as I'm going to show you today, you can wrap directly onto a pre-made form, and this is a Beadalon quick link, and it's silver plated. It's really nice, a little seamless piece there. You're going to need some beads. I chose 8/0 Toho seed beads, but really you can use any bead you'd like. You're going to need some flush cutters, a pair of round nose pliers, some chain nose pliers, and really handy to keep around when you're working with wire is a pair of nylon jaw pliers. And in fact, I'm going to start with the nylon jaw pliers. I want length of my working thinner wire, the 24 gauge wire. And I need a pretty long stretch here because I'm going to wrap all the way around this 25mm form. So I'm going to go ahead and cut approximately maybe 3 or 4 feet, maybe even longer, just in case. Precision doesn't matter so much when you're working with plated wire. Of course you want to be really precise with your measurements when you're using sterling or other precious metal wires because you don't want to waste it. So I have a length of it drawn out and it's a little bit kinked, so I'm going to go ahead and take my nylon jaw pliers. I'm going to run my wire through it so it's nice and straight. I'm simply going to snip my wire. Now I can begin wrapping. I'm going to take whatever form I'm going to wrap onto, and I'm going to leave a length about 4.5 inches. I'm going to leave that tail there. I'm going to thread my wire through the form. I'm going to do this a couple times, and I'm going to make sure those loops are really nice and tight next to each other. You want to make sure your wire does not get tangled in this process. Always keep it going in the same direction. If you kind of bend it the wrong way, it can get really tangled. So I have 2 loops right there. I think I can start adding my beads. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up one of my Tohos, pull it all the way down to the wire form. I'm going to make sure it's sitting nice and square on top of the outer ridge of my form. This is easy to do because this form is squared off. Not so easy to do when it's rounded, so you really want to make sure you kind of hold it with your thumb and forefinger and keep it on top of that outer ridge in a straight line. So I have my first bead. Since these beads are not too large, I'm going to do 2 plain wraps in between. If these beads were larger and you wanted to fill up the negative space between each bead, you might do 2, 3, 4, 5, depends on the size of the bead that you're wrapping. So I believe that 2 is just about perfect. I'm going to pick up another bead, bring it all the way down to my form. Once again, pop it into place there. You're going to be finagling this as you go and making sure everything is nice and evenly spaced and going the same direction. I'm going to do 2 more plain wraps. if your wire does start to get kinked or gets tangled, go ahead and smooth it out again with the nylon jaw pliers. I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of this ring, and then I'll show you how to create a loop and finish off your project. Alright, I'm just adding my last bead here. I'm going to wrap right up to my beginning part of my wire here. And if you want a seamless look, you can very carefully and closely trim this wire using your flush cutters and with a pair of chain nose pliers, burnish it down so it looks pretty seamless. But I'm going to make a loop at the top. But first, I'm going to show you a quick little tip. If you look at the form from this way, as you can see, they're all pretty much in a row because, like I said, the ring that we were wrapping onto is square. But some of them are kind of wonky there, so you can very carefully take your chain nose pliers and just turn your beads so they're all facing the same way. To make a loop, since 24 gauge is pretty thin, you can either do a double loop, or I'm just going to do a single loop. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut off some extra. Obviously I have too much wire, so I'm going to cut off that extra. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a wrapped wire loop. So I'm going to make a little 90-degree bend in one of the wires. With the other wire, I'm going to wrap around 2 or 3 times. I'm going to trim off that piece. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to make another wrapped loop, and you can determine which way you want your loop to go. If you want it to go the same way as your ring or this way. So I'm going to make it go this way and put a little bend, wrap around, move the position of my pliers. I always do this with my fingers, but you can use another pair of pliers if you'd like. And you're just going to continue to wrap this excess around the stem until it meets up with your previous wrap. I'm going to snip off my excess wire with my flush cutters. There you have it, and you can use this to make pendants, or you can make another one and make a pair of earrings.